Your smile was the match, their brain was the gasoline, and you had no say in it. Sound familiar? You're at work being a good colleague, you're collaborative, you offer a genuine compliment on a project, you hold eye contact to show you're engaged. To you, this is just professionalism. It's being a decent human being. But to their brain, it's a signal flare shooting across a dark sky. Suddenly, your friendly check-ins are seen as romantic check-ups. Your supportive emails are decoded as love letters. And you're left wondering, how did we get here? Here's the thing. It turns out your brain and their brain are running on completely different software. And there are 5 specific psychological tripwires that almost guarantee your kindness will be mistaken for romantic interest. We're going to break down all 5. But first, we have to understand the one core principle that powers this entire misunderstanding. It's called error management theory, developed by psychologists David Buss and Marty Hazelton at the University of Texas. And it explains almost everything. Think of a smoke alarm. You have 2 potential errors it can make. It can fail to go off when there's a real fire, a miss, or it can go off when you just burnt some toast, a false alarm. Which error is more costly? Obviously, missing a real fire is catastrophic. So we designed smoke alarms to be oversensitive. We'd rather deal with a few annoying false alarms than risk missing the one real disaster. Our brains work the same way when it comes to mating. For men, throughout evolutionary history, the cost of missing a potential reproductive opportunity was huge. It meant no offspring. The cost of a false alarm, thinking someone was interested when they weren't, was comparatively small. So evolution favored a male brain calibrated to overperceive sexual interest. It's better to have a few false alarms than to miss a real fire. This isn't an excuse, it's an explanation. A cognitive bias wired into our operating system. Their desire creates a void. And the mind will fill that void with whatever material is available, including you. This is cognitive dissonance at its most primal. The human mind cannot hold 2 conflicting thoughts for very long. 1, I am attracted to this person. And 2, this person is not attracted to me. That tension is unbearable. So the brain cheats. It quietly reinterprets reality to close the gap. Leon Festinger mapped this out in the 1950s, showing that your brain will literally change its perception of past events to reduce internal conflict. Your neutral, friendly behavior becomes the raw material. Their desire becomes the script. Their brain is actively editing your actions in real time to fit a narrative where they are wanted. And the stronger their desire or the lower their self-esteem, the more powerful that reframing effect becomes. What's interesting is that this isn't weakness or delusion in the clinical sense. This is a mind protecting itself from a reality it can't accept. It's a survival mechanism that just happens to be completely inconvenient for you. The only way to fight this is to introduce a dissonance they cannot ignore. Use clear, unambiguous language that plants an undeniable fact into the interaction. Something like, I really value our friendship. You're not being cold. You're giving their brain a fact it can't quietly edit away. A fact that sits there, immovable, no matter how hard the reframing engine tries to spin it. People don't see your friendliness for what it is. They see proof of what they already believe. If someone has already decided you are desirable, your simple act of kindness is no longer a neutral gesture. It becomes Exhibit A in the case they're quietly building in their head. This is the halo effect, a bias identified in the 1920s by psychologist Edward Thorndike. He found that a single positive trait in a person would color the perception of every other trait they had. In his research, physically fit soldiers were unconsciously rated as better leaders and more intelligent, with 0 additional evidence. Think about what that means for a moment. 1 trait. That's all it takes to recolor everything else. Your friendliness is being filtered through their pre-existing judgment of you. Their reaction to your kindness might have nothing to do with what you actually did, and everything to do with the story they wrote the moment they met you. You walked in, they formed an impression, and now every single thing you do is being processed through that lens. Your joke lands differently. Your concern reads as deeper than it is. Your attention feels more significant than you intended. To counter the halo effect, you have to break the halo deliberately. introduce information that contradicts their narrative, mention a flaw, express a differing opinion, let them see you be wrong about something. You're forcing them to see you as a full, complicated human being rather than a perfect character in a story they're writing without your input. That's not self-sabotage. That's actually just being real. Your brain doesn't have a separate signal for friendly. The nonverbal cues for platonic warmth and romantic interest are terrifyingly similar. A genuine smile, prolonged eye contact, a slight head tilt, these are processed by the limbic system, the ancient emotional part of the brain that reacts long before your rational mind weighs in. The evolutionary reason for this overlap is that ambiguity was a form of safety for our ancestors. A smile could be an invitation, or just a smile, giving both parties plausible deniability. The problem is that ancient safety feature is now a bug in our modern social software. Your brain sends a signal that says, "I am open to connection," but fails to specify what kind. And the person receiving that signal doesn't get a footnote. They don't get the clarifying paragraph. They just get the raw signal, and their brain interprets it through whatever filter is already running, which, as we've established, might be heavily biased towards seeing what it wants to see. To work around this, you have to manually add signals of platonic intent. Use "we" when talking about your friend group. Physically orient yourself to include other people in the conversation rather than creating a private bubble. Briefly break eye contact to glance at something neutral. These aren't tricks, they're context. You're adding the information your ancient brain keeps leaving out. You're essentially writing the footnote your limbic system forgot to include. Your kindness creates a debt. The moment you offer a genuine compliment or a helping hand, you are handing someone a psychological bill they didn't ask for, and they feel a subconscious need to repay it. This is the principle of reciprocity. But here is the inversion most people miss. People rarely repay a social debt with an equivalent gesture. They escalate. They repay your small act of friendly attention with a larger bid for connection. Why? Because over-repaying makes them feel generous and in control, not indebted. They are trying to seize the social dynamic. You helped them with a work problem, so they offer to take you to dinner. You gave them a compliment, so they start texting you every morning. The gesture grows, the debt compounds, and from the outside it can look like pushiness or intensity, when really it's just an ancient reciprocity mechanism doing exactly what it was designed to do, just in completely the wrong context. This pattern is often misread as a personality flaw in the other person, when it's actually a deeply wired social instinct misfiring. The way to short-circuit this is to close the social ledger. When they try to repay you, say something like, "That's kind of you, but honestly, no need. I was just happy to help." You're not being dismissive. You're explicitly closing the account before they can write a new unwanted entry. You're telling their reciprocity instinct, "Transaction complete, nothing owed, we're square." You now know something most people never think about. The perception of your actions is not defined by your intent. It's defined by the ancient, biased hardware running in the mind of the person watching you. And that's a genuinely strange thing to sit with. You can be completely sincere, completely well-meaning, doing everything right by your own standards, and still be completely misread. Not because you failed, but because the receiving end of the signal is running its own program. Your friendliness was never the problem. The problem was the assumption that you and the other person were speaking the same language, that your signal was arriving the way you sent it. It wasn't. It was being decoded by a completely different system, shaped by evolutionary pressures, personal desires, cognitive biases, and a reciprocity engine that's been running in human brains for hundreds of thousands of years. Starting today, try adding just one layer of unambiguous platonic context to a single friendly interaction. It doesn't mean being less warm or less yourself. It means being more precise. Drop a clear anchor, a mention of your friend group, a closing of the social ledger, a fact their brain can't quietly rewrite. One small, deliberate addition to the signal you're already sending. And in being more precise, you protect your peace without sacrificing who you are. That's not a small thing. That's actually everything. If this kind of deep psychological insight is what you want more of, the next video is about what to do when you unexpectedly run into the person who rejected you. Subscribe so you don't miss it.